Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It's Thursday, February 5th, 2026.
And it is a big day.
It's a big year. I mean, if you've stepped outside in New York City lately, or really if you've just glanced at a cultural calendar anywhere in the world, you can feel it.
Oh, yeah.
The energy is just different, it's tense, it's exciting, and it is incredibly crowded.
It's palpable.
Yeah.
You know, you walk down Fifth Avenue and you can almost feel the vibration in the pavement. We're in the middle of what some critics are calling an ArtQuake.
An ArtQuake, I like that.
It's a massive cultural inflection point. You know, usually you get one or two blockbuster museum shows a year, maybe a big stadium tour that everyone talks about for a month.
Right.
But 2026, this year is shaping up to be monumental.
Yeah.
It's an avalanche of culture.
It really is. It feels like everything is happening all at once. We've got new museum wings opening, 50-year retrospectives of artists who, fundamentally changed how we see the world.
And massive pop tours that are basically theatrical productions.
Exactly. It's a lot to take in. It feels a bit like the Roaring '20s again. But, you know, with more screens and way better sound systems.
That's a good comparison. But there's a pattern emerging through all the noise.
Yeah.
If you look closely at what's happening at the Met, at MoMA, at the Guggenheim, on Broadway.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. There's a convergence happening. We're seeing a collision of fashion, art, and performance in a way we haven't really seen before. It's not just art hanging on a wall anymore. It's art you live in, art you wear, art that takes over the entire room.
Exactly. And that's our mission for this deep dive. We're going to try to cut through the noise of this massive 2026 cultural calendar.
We're going to try.
We aren't just going to read you the listings. We're going to curate the absolute must-see list and, more importantly, explain why these events matter.
Yeah, what's the story behind the headline?
We're taking you on a tour through the Metropolitan Museum of Art, MoMA, the Guggenheim, the Whitney, and straight onto Broadway.
And we're going to do it without the textbook feel. We want to get into the exciting announcements of what they actually mean for you, the visitor.
Yeah.
Because the biggest story right now, the one that really signals this shift, is happening right there on Fifth Avenue.
Oh, absolutely. The Metropolitan Museum of Art.
The Met.
They're making a move that is fundamentally changing the game. They're taking fashion, which for so long has been sort of the outcast.
The cool cousin in the basement.
The cool cousin in the basement. That's perfect. The downstairs department. And they're moving it to center stage, literally and figuratively.
It's a massive shift. And we've got the star power to match. I mean, we're talking Beyoncé, Lady Gaga, Adrian Brody. It's going to be a wild year.
It really is.
Yeah.
So let's jump right in. The headline that everyone is talking about, the Met Gala and the new Costume Institute exhibition.
Right. So mark your calendars. The Met Gala, the party of the year, is Monday, May 4th, 2026.
The first Monday in May. Always.
As always. And then the exhibition itself, titled Costume Art, opens to the public on May 10th and runs all the way through January 10th, 2027.
Costume art, it sounds simple, almost deceptively simple, but knowing the Met, I assume there's a lot more to it than just, here are some costumes that look artsy.
Oh, much, much more. This is really the brainchild of Andrew Bolton, the head curator.
Yeah.
But to understand why this is such a big deal, we have to talk about the real game changer here.
Which is?
The venue. For the first time, the Costume Institute is inaugurating the brand new Condé M Nast Galleries.
And these aren't just any galleries tucked away in a corner somewhere.
No, not at all. We're talking about a new, nearly 12,000 square foot space located directly adjacent to the Great Hall.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second, because geography at the Met really, really matters.
It's everything.
If you've been to the Met, you know the Great Hall. It's that massive cathedral-like entry space. It's the heart of the museum. Usually, to see the fashion exhibitions, you have to go downstairs to the Anna Wintour Costume Center. It feels a bit subterranean.
It does. It feels like you're visiting a special hidden wing, like you're in on a secret.
Exactly. It felt like a niche, a very popular niche. I mean, those shows are usually the most attended of the year, but a niche nonetheless.
Right. By moving into these new galleries right off the Great Hall, the museum is making a physical statement. A very loud one.
What's the statement?
They're saying that fashion is no longer a stepchild of art. It's central to the museum's mission.
It's on the main floor?
It's on the main floor. It signals that the dressed body is just as important as a Renaissance painting or a Greek sculpture. It's a hierarchical shift you can feel just by walking in the front door.
It's like fashion is finally getting a seat at the adult table. No more kids' table in the basement.
Precisely. And this renovation, this move, wasn't cheap. It's supported by a lead gift from Condé Nast, obviously, hence the name.
Of course.
But you also have major contributions from Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez Bezos, designers like Tom Brown and Michael Kors, and a whole list of others. It's a heavy-hitting lineup of donors who are essentially betting on fashion as high art.
So we've got this prime real estate, a huge new space. What are they putting in it? The theme is costume art. What is Bolton's vision here? Is it just pretty dresses next to pretty paintings?
Well, that's the fear, right? But no, Bolton is really interested in the concept of the dressed body as the connecting tissue of the entire museum.
The connecting tissue.
Yeah. He's made this fascinating point that usually when we see fashion in a museum, we look at it through the lens of art, like, oh, look at this dress that uses the same color palette as a Monet.
Right. We use the painting to validate the dress, to give it credibility.
Exactly. But here, the twist is that visitors will view art through the lens of the dressed body. He wants to show that the body, how we cover it, how we reveal it, how we shape it, is a universal theme that connects 5,000 years of history.
Okay, so that flips the script entirely. So walk me through the layout. Usually these big costume shows are timelines. You start with the crinolines, you walk through the flapper era, you end at, 3D printing. Is Bolton doing the greatest hits of history?
That's the standard playbook, right? But he's throwing the timeline out the window.
Really?
He argues that chronology is actually a distraction. If you put a 1920s dress next to a 2020s dress, you're just looking at trend cycles. You're looking at hemlines going up and down.
Sure, you're spotting the reference. You're playing a matching game.
Exactly. He wants to look at the societal control and the perception of the body. So he's organizing the entire show by body types.
Body types? That sounds a little medical. Or maybe like a fitness magazine.
It is, and I think that's intentional. He has categorized the exhibition into these thematic sections. You have the universal bodies, which include things like the naked body, the classical body, and the anatomical body.
Okay, I can picture those. You've got Greek statues and anatomical drawings next to, a Jean-Paul Gaultier corset.
Right, but then he goes into the uncomfortable territory, the overlooked bodies.
I like that. What counts as an overlooked body in the context of the Met Museum?
Things like the pregnant body, the aging body, and the mortal body.
Wait, pause on that. The pregnant body and aging body, why are those considered overlooked? We see pregnant people and older people every day.
We see them in life, but think about art history, and especially fashion history. In Western art, pregnancy was often hidden under layers of drapery, or it was purely symbolic, like the Virgin Mary, for instance.
Right. It wasn't treated as a form to be highlighted for its own shape.
Exactly, and fashion. High fashion has historically been about corseting that shape away or hiding it completely. Bolton is likely going to put a pregnant mannequin, maybe wearing something by Rick Owens, or somebody modern front and center. He's asserting that this shape is just as worthy of the high art treatment as the slim classical body.
That's a powerful statement. And the mortal body, that sounds incredibly dark for a fashion exhibition.
It is. Fashion is an industry that is pathologically obsessed with youth, with preservation, with denying death.
Totally.
To have a section dedicated to the mortal body, which implies decay, frailty, the end of life, is a pretty radical statement. It connects fashion back to the reality that the bodies wearing these clothes eventually expire.
That is fascinating. It sounds like it's going to be very emotional, actually, not just, ooh, shiny sequins.
I think so. And the way they're displaying these themes is through these incredible pairings. They're juxtaposing about 200 garments from the Costume Institute with 200 artworks, sculpture, painting, prints from the Met's own vast collection.
Can you give us a concrete example of one of these pairings? I'm trying to visualize how a dress talks to a sculpture.
Sure. One striking example they've teased is a bodysuit by the Belgian designer Walter van Beirendonck.
Oh, he's the one who does those wild, colorful, almost cartoonish designs, right? Like high fashion club kid gear.
Exactly. Very avant-garde, very out there, often plays with muscle suits and exaggerated anatomy. They're pairing one of his bodysuits with an engraving by Albrecht Dürer.
Wow. Okay. Dürer is, 16th century? Very serious, very detailed German Renaissance.
Late 15th, early 16th century, yes.
And
So you have this incredible clash. On one side, Dürer's almost scientific obsession with human proportion, the mathematical perfection of the anatomy.
right.
On the other side, Van Beirendonck's neon, exaggerated, totally artificial muscles.
Yeah.
But both are dealing with the exact same question. What does the ideal body look like?
Yeah.
And how do we construct it?
That's a cool connection. It completely collapses the 500 years between them.
Another example they mentioned is a Mariano Fortuny Delphos gown.
Ah, those are gorgeous. The pleated silk, they look like liquid.
Yes, absolutely timeless.
Yeah.
They're placing that alongside a 5th century BCE terracotta statuette of Nike, the goddess of victory.
But that makes perfect sense. The Fortuny gowns were explicitly inspired by classical Greek drapery.
Right. But seeing them side by side does something else. It creates this dialogue where you realize that the silhouette of the 1920s isn't that different from the silhouette of ancient Greece. It shows that our obsession with the draped body, the body revealed by fabric clinging to it, is this constant human fascination.
So that's the exhibition. It sounds incredible. But we have to talk about the party. The gala. Monday, May 4th. The lineup of co-chairs is... well, stacked doesn't even begin to cover it.
No, it's a power move.
Right.
We have Anna Wintour, of course. That's a given.
Of course.
But joining her are Beyoncé, Nicole Kidman, and Venus Williams.
That's a power quartet if I've ever heard one. You've got music, film, sports, and fashion all at the absolute top of their game.
It covers all the cultural bases.
Yeah.
And it doesn't stop there. The host committee co-chairs are Anthony Vaccarello, the creative director of Saint Laurent, and Zoe Kravitz.
Very cool. Saint Laurent is a major sponsor, right?
Yes. Saint Laurent and Condé Nast are the big corporate backers, along with the Bezos family. And the committee list is just this wild, eclectic mix of who's relevant right now. You have Sabrina Carpenter, Doja Cat, Gwendolyn Christie.
I love Gwendolyn Christie. She is so fashion forward. She treats herself like a living sculpture. She'll be perfect for this theme.
She really does. And then you have Misty Copeland, Lisa from Blackpink, Sam Smith, Tiana Taylor. It's a very diverse group representing all these different facets of performance and style.
With a theme like costume art, I'm expecting people to really lean into the art side of things on the red carpet. Maybe we'll see less pretty princess gowns and more structural avant-garde pieces.
I would bet on it. The dress code hasn't been officially revealed yet, but it usually riffs on the exhibition title. I expect we'll see a lot of blurring the lines between clothing and sculpture. I wouldn't be surprised to see people wearing things that look like frames or canvas or marble.
That would be amazing. Okay, so that's the Met. It's big, it's bold, it's moving into the Great Hall, but moving down the street, or across town, rather, MoMA is not staying quiet.
No.
They've got some massive blockbusters of their own coming up.
They certainly do. And if the Met is focusing on the dressed body, MoMA is focusing on the radical reinvention of modernism itself. They have 2 major shows that are really going to define the spring season for them.
Okay, let's start with the one that opens in April. Marcel Duchamp.
Yes. This is a huge deal. It's the first major North American retrospective of Marcel Duchamp in over 50 years. The last one was in 1973.
50 years. That's a lifetime in the art world. An entire generation of people hasn't seen a show like this.
It opens April 12, 2026. They've gathered nearly 300 works spanning 6 decades, from 1900 to 1968. It's a massive undertaking.
Okay, I have to play devil's advocate here.
Please do.
The urinal. It's 2026. We've seen the meme. We know the story. Why do we need a 50-year retrospective on a guy who signed a piece of plumbing? Is this just art world navel-gazing, or is there something new to see here?
I love that you asked that, because that is exactly why you need to go see this show. Duchamp is actually the most relevant artist for 2026, specifically because of what's happening with AI.
Wait, connect those dots for me. Duchamp and AI, how?
Think about it. Duchamp's whole thesis with the ready-mades, like the urinal, specifically Tidal Fountain, was this. I didn't make this object with my hands. I selected it, I chose it, and that choice makes it art.
Okay.
He separated the craft from the concept. Now, look at Midjourney or ChatGPT. You aren't painting the image pixel by pixel. You're prompting it. You are selecting an outcome from infinite possibilities.
So Duchamp was basically the first prompt engineer.
100%. He was the first person to say that the hand of the artist doesn't matter as much as the mind of the artist. MoMA is bringing out these ready-mades, and yes, many originals are lost, so these are the sanctioned replicas, effectively to argue that the idea is supreme. When you look at that urinal, don't see a toilet. See, the moment art stopped being about manual labor and started being about intellectual property, it's the origin story of the world we live in now.
That actually makes it feel incredibly fresh. I hadn't thought of it that way. What else are we going to see besides the plumbing?
They're bringing back nudity descending a staircase.
No? Oh, the Cubist masterpiece, the one that looks like a cascade of shapes.
Yes. It hasn't been shown at MoMA since 1974. That painting caused a huge scandal when it was first unveiled in 1913. People couldn't figure out what it was. It looked like an explosion in a shingle factory, according to one critic.
Ah, that's a great line.
But it captures movement in a static image in a way that was revolutionary. It's basically the grandfather of motion graphics.
And isn't there something about the Mona Lisa, the one with the...
The mustache. LHOOQ. It's a postcard of the Mona Lisa on which Duchamp drew a mustache and a goatee.
The original meme, the first piece of fan art.
Truly. It was irreverent, sure, but it also questioned the sanctity of the original. He challenged the idea that art had to be unique and untouchable. And they're also showing his box in a valise, which is literally a portable museum, a suitcase containing miniature reproductions of his own work.
I love that idea. He just carried his legacy around in a suitcase.
It fits perfectly with the modern world, where we carry our entire lives and photo galleries in our pockets. Duchamp was so far ahead of his time.
So that opens in April. But before that, in March, MoMA has another heavy hitter, Frida Kahlo and Diego Rivera.
Yes. Frida and Diego, The Last Dream. This opens March 21st, 2026. And this is not just a standard paintings on a wall survey. This is being pitched as a theatrical dialogue.
Theatrical dialogue. What does that mean in a museum context? Are there actors walking around?
Well, almost. MoMA is partnering with the Metropolitan Opera for this.
Wow. Okay.
It coincides with the premiere of the opera, El Último Sueño de Frida y Diego, which translates to The Last Dream of Frida and Diego.
So there's a narrative element driving the curation. It's not just, here's a Frida, here's a Diego.
Exactly. The premise of the opera, and therefore the exhibition, is that Diego Rivera, towards the end of his life, is summoning Frida Kahlo back from the dead during Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead.
That's incredibly poetic. And a little spooky. It frames the art as a ghost story.
It is. And to match that vibe, they hired John Balsour, who is a famous stage designer, to do the gallery scenography. He has created an otherworldly setting based on Day of the Dead traditions.
So you aren't walking into a white cube gallery with harsh lighting.
No. You're walking into a space that feels like a threshold between the living and the dead. It's designed to be immersive and emotional.
And we're seeing their key works within this stage set.
Yes. You'll see Kahlo's self-portrait with a cropped hair, the one where she's wearing a man's suit and holding scissors, having just cut off her hair. It's such a powerful image of grief and autonomy. And on Rivera's side, you'll have major works like Agrarian Leader Zapata. It's a conversation between two titans of Mexican modernism. But instead of just comparing their brushstrokes, it's framed through this lens of love, death, and memory.
It sounds like MoMA is really trying to break the mold of the traditional exhibition. You have Duchamp breaking the definition of art, and Frida and Diego breaking the format of the gallery show itself.
It's definitely a seasoned reinvention for them. They're not playing it safe.
Okay, let's move up the spiral. The Guggenheim. What's happening in that iconic building?
The Guggenheim is doing something very bold for 2026. As you know, 2026 is the semi-quincentennial.
The 250th anniversary of the United States, the big birthday.
Right. So to mark this, the Guggenheim is handing over the entire Frank Lloyd Wright Rotunda, that iconic spiral ramp to single artists. They're calling them solo rotunda incursions.
Incursion is a slightly aggressive word for a museum show, isn't it? It sounds like a military operation.
At the Guggenheim, it kind of has to be. You have to understand, Frank Lloyd Wright did not design that building to be friendly to artists.
Laughs.
No, he did not.
He designed it to be a monument to Frank Lloyd Wright. The art was an afterthought.
Right. The walls are curved, the floor is slanted. You can't hang a painting straight to save your life.
Exactly. Artists usually hate it. They have to fight the architecture to get their work seen. So for the 250th anniversary, the museum is basically saying, okay, take the gloves off. They're handing the entire rotunda, that whole quarter-mile spiral, to single artists.
No group shows, just one artist versus the building.
It's a cage match. And in the spring, the challenger is Carol Bove.
Carol Bove. She's the sculptor, right? Works with massive pieces of metal.
Yes, she opens March 5th. She makes these collage sculptures out of scrap metal and huge steel tubing. But the amazing thing about her work is that she crushes and folds this heavy industrial steel as if it were fabric or liquid.
It looks soft. It does. It looks soft, almost like ribbon. That contrast of material and form must be stunning. against the concrete of the Guggenheim.
Yeah.
And specifically for the Guggenheim, she's including design interventions that actually change how you walk through the building. She's engaging with the architecture, potentially blocking paths or guiding you in new ways. She isn't just placing objects in the space, she's remixing the space itself.
I love that. She's fighting back against Frank Lloyd Wright. And then in the fall,
Opening September 18th, we have Taryn Simon.
Taryn Simon is incredible. Her work is always so dense. It's like research is art. It takes you a minute to process what you're seeing.
Exactly. She's a multidisciplinary artist, photography, text, video. Her installation is going to fill the whole spiral with what they're calling an interactive installation.
What's the theme?
It's about the archive. She views the archive as a whirlwind of visual data. It explores unseen forces, hidden histories, and how information fractures and gets corrupted.
That feels very, very relevant to 2026. We are drowning in information.
We are. And framing it as a whirlwind inside a spiral building is just a perfect metaphor. Visitors will have to choose their own path through this storm of images and texts. It's going to be overwhelming in the best way possible.
So we've got the Met redefining fashion, MoMA redefining modernism, and the Guggenheim redefining its own architecture. What about the Whitney? They're usually the ones taking the pulse of America right now.
And they're right on schedule. The Whitney Biennial, the 82nd edition, opens March 8th, 2026.
The biennial is always a lightning rod. People love it, people hate it, but everyone talks about it.
That's the entire point of it. This year, the curators are Marcela Guerrero and Drew Sawyer. The theme they've announced is relationality and infrastructures.
Okay, relationality. That sounds like grad school jargon. What does that mean in plain English?
It does sound academic, but the vibe is really about connections and systems. Specifically, they're focusing on artists from places that have been marked by U.S. power. We're talking about artists from Afghanistan, the Philippines, Puerto Rico, Vietnam, places with a complex history with the United States.
That's a very specific lens for the 250th anniversary. So instead of just celebrating the 50 states with fireworks, they're looking at the American footprint globally.
Exactly. It's a critical look at the American experiment. They're exploring what they call kinships and unruly forms of coexistence. It's asking, how do we relate to each other in a world shaped by American infrastructure, military presence, and economic influence? It's not going to be a simple Happy Birthday America party. It's going to be a complex and, I guess, likely provocative conversation about what it means to be American or adjacent to America in 2026.
Which is exactly what the Whitney does best. It holds up a mirror, even if the reflection isn't always flattering.
Precisely. If you want to know what artists are thinking right now, not 50 years ago, you go to the biennial.
Okay, we've covered the museums. But New York isn't just about looking at things on walls. It's about live performance. And 2026 is bringing some serious heat to the stage.
It really is. Broadway is having a moment of reinvention, too.
Let's start with the one that made my jaw drop when I saw the announcement. Cats.
Cats. But not as you know it.
This is Cats, the Jellicle Ball. Now stop. Cats, the musical that became a punchline after the movie.
Oh, the movie.
You're telling me they're fixing Cats by setting it in ballroom culture? How does that even work tonally?
It sounds crazy, right?
Yeah.
But think about the structure of the show. It's literally a competition where contestants strut, plead their case in a song, and are judged. That is a ball.
For listeners who might not know, we're talking about ballroom culture, the underground LGBTQ plus subculture that originated in New York City. Drag balls, voguing, houses. Think Paris is Burning or The Show Pose.
Right. So imagine Andrew Lloyd Webber's songs, but recontextualized into a drag ball competition.
So Jellicle Cats Come Out Tonight is an invitation to walk the runway.
Exactly. Completely revitalizes the material. The casting includes Fumzel Sajola, who has a background in opera, but also legendary figures from the actual ballroom scene. It creates this totally new, authentic energy.
So the competition aspect of the original musical, where one cat is chosen to be reborn, fits perfectly with the category competitions of a ball.
Perfectly. It takes a show that was about people in catsuits and makes it about community, survival, and fame.
It takes a show that became kind of a joke and makes it cool and culturally relevant again. That is a feat.
It does. And speaking of intensity, we have Adrien Brody making his Broadway debut.
Adrien Brody, the Oscar winner. What's he doing?
He's starring in a play called The Fear of 13. It opens April 15th at the James Earl Jones Theater.
That title sounds intense.
It's based on a true story, the story of Nick Yaris, who was a death row inmate for years.
No, heavy.
It is, but the reviews from its London run, where Brody also starred, said it mixes dark humor with the bleakness. It's about humanizing the inmate.
And Brody is known for being incredibly intense and committed as an actor.
Seeing him live in a role like this is going to be electric. It's a one-man tour de force type of performance.
And for something on the complete opposite end of the spectrum,
Yeah.
Schmigadoon.
Yes. The Apple TV Plus series is coming to the stage. It started at the Kennedy Center, now moving to Broadway. It's a parody of classic musicals, Rodgers and Hammerstein, The Golden Age. It's pure meta-musical theater.
That's going to be just pure fun. Poking fun at the art form while celebrating it. And I saw Beaches is coming, too.
Beaches the musical, based on the Bette Midler movie and the original novel. It's starring Kelly Barrett and Jessica Vosk.
2 Wicked alums. That is some serious vocal power.
Absolutely. If you want to cry your eyes out and hear some high belting that shakes the rafters, that is the ticket to get.
Now, stepping out of the theater and into the arena, the music tours this year are just massive.
The super cycle, they're calling it. It's nonstop.
Lady Gaga, the Mayhem Ball.
And what's interesting here is that she's doing arenas, not stadiums.
Why step down in size? Usually, looking at Taylor or Beyoncé, bigger is better.
Control. She wants to control the theatrical details. Stadiums are huge, echoey caverns where the nuance gets lost.
Right.
Arenas let you do more precise, intricate production. The concept is a gothic wonderland. Think Alice in Wonderland meets dark pop.
I heard about the White Queen versus the Mistress of Mayhem narrative she's building.
Yes, it's a dual persona show. And the setlist teasers are wild. A chessboard version of Poker Face, songs like Disease and Abracadabra. It sounds like classic high-concept Gaga. She's bringing the theater back to the concert.
And then we have the legends. AC/DC is hitting MetLife Stadium in September.
The Power Up Tour, that's just going to be loud. That is straight up, no frills, rock and roll spectacle.
And Bon Jovi is doing a residency, basically.
Right.
9 concerts at Madison Square Garden.
A huge comeback tour after his vocal surgery. That's a homecoming for him. MSG is his house. It's going to be very emotional for the fans.
And just to round out the spectacle, we can't forget that the World Cup is coming.
Right. FIFA World Cup 2026. MetLife Stadium in New Jersey is hosting. The city is just going to be flooded with international fans. It adds a whole other layer of energy to the summer.
And the Sphere in Vegas is continuing to pull these massive residencies, so that's always on the radar for the traveler looking for a spectacle.
It is truly a year of more is more. There's no minimalism in 2026.
So let's try to wrap our heads around this. We've got the Met redefining fashion history with costume art and literally putting it on a pedestal.
Yep.
We've got MoMA looking back 50 years to Duchamp and finding out he predicted our AI future.
The Guggenheim is letting artists fight the building.
The Whitney is questioning the American empire. And on Broadway, the Cats are voguing.
It's a lot. But the thread connecting it all, for me, is the body in space.
Say more about that.
Whether it's a steel sculpture bending like fabric at the Guggenheim, or a corset reshaping the body at the Met, or Lady Gaga controlling the acoustics of an arena, or cats walking a runway, it's all about how we occupy physical space.
That's a great point. In a world where we spend so much time on screens, in the metaverse, whatever, these are all very physical, tangible experiences.
And that leads to the big question I think we should leave you with.
Go for it.
Think about Terrence Simon's exhibit at the Guggenheim, that whirlwind of digital data, and contrast it with the Met's intense focus on the dressed body. Why, in 2026, in a world of AI and digital overload, are we so obsessed with the physical dressed body and the tangible archive? Is this return to the corporeal, as Andrew Bolton calls it, a reaction to our digital lives?
Yeah.
Are we trying to remind ourselves that we're real?
That is something to chew on. Are we seeking out the physical because we're drowning in the digital?
I think we might be.
Well, there you have it. Your roadmap to the cultural explosion of 2026. Our advice: pick one. Don't try to do it all.
Don't. You'll go crazy.
Pick one of these deep dives and go experience it in person. Stand in front of the art. Feel the bass at the concert. Be in the room.
Agreed. Knowledge is great, but presence is better.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll catch you on the next one.
See you there.